Hi, good morning. My name is Gloria Vyatt. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. So this morning we are going to make 3 cute cards, and it's going to involve some cuts and punches, and we'll be using the beautiful autumn set. So get ready, let's go ahead and get started. This is what we're making today. We are using Beautiful Autumn, and we're going to be making a cute punch card, a cute cut card, and another cute cut card. So, are you ready? Let's get started. I'm going to start, first of all, with this card. I love this cut. It's a very simple cut. We'll be needing a couple of materials here, so let me pull that out. This is the stamp set. We're using our sentiment today called Hey There. Okay, so we need to start with a card base. So our card base is made out of basic gray, and I've cut it at 8.5 by 5.5 inches. So this is a standard card, and we're just going to make it in the standard vertical formation. We'll be layering a piece of designer series paper. Now this paper is called Magic in This Night. This paper is really pretty. I've chosen to accentuate it today because it's actually part of our Halloween suite. And there's a little bit of, I don't know, Gothic style design on the backside of this DSP. So this designer series paper has several black and white sheets that can be very versatile, and I'll continue to show you some other projects later in the week using this paper for purposes other than Halloween, but I'll also show you Halloween soon. Okay, so with this piece, it is cut so that you have a 1-inch border around your card. So that means I've cut this to 5 1/4 by 4 inches. Now this is where we're going to get into our cute cut. Get my cutting board out. And so basically what I had to do was calculate what half of 5 1/4 is. Well, I know that half of 5 is 2.5, and a half of a quarter is 1/8. So I'm actually going to be cutting at 2 5/8. And I'm only going to cut up 2 inches. So I'm going to use the markings on my cutting tool, and I'm going to stop at 2 inches. So again, putting my blades aside and using my cutting blade, let's go to the 2-inch mark. Make sure I know which one it is. There we go. So I'm going to cut to there. And now I can do one of two things. I can choose to just fold it back and create a diagonal. Use my bone folder to create that crease. That's actually pretty easy to do. It makes this cut really fast. Or I could choose to line up the diagonal with the cutting line. I'm not going to cut, I'm going to score, so I need to get my cutting blade out of the way and stick to the scoring blade. I can line that up, and I can make a score mark to help me with my crease. So either way is appropriate, whatever you find to be easiest for you. So now we've got our cute cut and fold. Okay, now we're going to use a little bit of adhesive to hold these pieces down. Now, if you find that, in this case, I've noticed there's a little bit of a fray on the edge, I can take my light Pretty Peacock, because that's the coordinating color on this designer series paper, and I can just rub my marker on the outline there, just on the edge, and that'll take care of some of that white that you may not care to show on your card. So I'm going to take my adhesive and just put a little piece of adhesive back here just to hold that V down. There we go. And a little bit here. And there we go. Now let's go ahead and look. If you'll notice, there's a hidden piece. It's tucked away, not hidden. This is the piece of Bermuda Bay. This is the one I told you that I've already pre-embossed to save us a little bit of time. It's more or less columns of leaves pattern. All right, so what I'm going to do is put some adhesive behind this. And this, by the way, is also 5 1/4 tall because I want some margin for my gray cardstock to show. This is about 2 inches wide, and that's just so that at the very widest point, it's going to show. And I found that Bermuda Bay coordinates with the pretty peacock. It's just kind of, to me, it's as if you were to just go into lighter shades of it, you would end up with Bermuda Bay. So you see how my 2-inch piece, while it's pretty much hidden at the top and the bottom, it is wide enough to coordinate with the cute cut that I've made here. So let's go ahead and add one more thing before we adhere our DSP, and that's going to be this beautiful vellum square. So it was a square. What I did was I cut diagonally. I just turned it and made a diagonal cut because I only want the peak of it to show. And so, as you can see, I've already made one card using half of the vellum, and now I'm going to use the other half of the vellum. Now, vellum is a little bit tricky to adhere. So really, when I adhere this designer series paper down, it's going to catch the doily. So let's just do that. There we go. And all right, let's put this in place. And actually what I could do might be easier. Let's do it upside down so that I don't have to worry about it wiggling around. So that's going to give me a good idea how that's going to center. And now I'm able to lie it down. All we have left is to stamp our sentiment. Hey there. Hey, it's that, you know, that it does remind me. Hey there is a great greeting to send to a friend and just let them know that you're thinking of them. So, hey there. What I wanted to do was feature this, and I thought about sponging it, but instead what I've done is I just decided to run it through my ink pad because it gives it a little bit of tone and it makes it look like there's a teeny tiny border behind it. You can, if you dip it in a little deeper, you'll see that it acquires a little more ink. There we go. That's good enough. And so it looks like I've put a piece of DSP behind it, or not DSP, but cardstock perhaps behind it, but all I've done is given some tone to those scalloped edges. So I'm going to pop this up now with some dimensionals. All right, right now I'm using this beautiful black organdy glitter ribbon to create a bow. And I don't want it very big. There we go. And I'm going to trim that. And let's pull that a little bit. Trim it some more. All right, now we need a glue dot. I find it always easier to just adhere the ribbon to the glue dot and then bring it back out here. What do you think? There's our first card. Cute cut, very simple. Remember, this is 5 1/4 by 4 inches, so you're going to take halfway, which is 2 5/8, cut it straight in 2 inches, fold back. Again, you can use your scoring tool or your cutting board with the scoring blade to make that crease for you, or you can simply just fold it back and use your bone folder. So that's our first project. This one, I decided to change it up. We're going to actually make this a thank you card. And this one, the cute cut, is actually in the designer series paper. And let's talk about the pieces that are put together to make our card. Pretty Peacock. This one is cut vertically. So it's 4 1/4 by 11 inches, scored at 5.5 inches. Folded in half, and we're going to make this card a vertical card. So the first major layer is going to be this Cajun Craze piece, and it is 4 inches by 3.5 inches. So this is our second dominant color on this card. And then I've taken this designer series paper, and again, as I mentioned, the beautiful Magic in the Night designer series paper is much more than Halloween paper. And that's one of the things I wanted to emphasize this morning, because it is really pretty for fall. These are the colors that are included on this sheet. And if I flip it over, you can tell there's some Gothic design as well as, there we go, a little bit of spider webbing. So yes, one side would be perfect for your Halloween cards, but certainly not necessary. We can use this side for fall cards, which is what we're doing today. So we're going to adhere those 3 pieces together before I actually cut into 1-inch strips. This is actually 3 inches wide, and it is 4 inch. I'm sorry. Yes, it is 4 inches long. So the recurring theme here is that I like to give a 1/8 inch margin around my layers, and in order to do that, you take off a 1/4 inch, and then it provides you 1/8 all the way around. So we're going to put this piece down. So I cut my designer series paper in one big square, and then I separated it. I don't have to put it in order, but I'm going to. Well, maybe not. Anyway, then you put it in line with top and bottom. And it's really not necessary for the design to be connected. I mean, what you're looking for in this cute cut is that you have similar spacing so that it accentuates that secondary color that we've chosen. All right, before we put our layer on to the base card, what we're going to do is take a piece of Pretty Peacock linen. This ribbon is so pretty, and it comes in all 5 of the 2019-2020 colors, coordinating colors, in colors. So we're going to, I'm going to do this upside down. I'm making the bow upside down. I'm not making the card. Ugh. Let's try that again. Well, maybe I will. It's a little trickier. Give myself some slack there. Oops, sorry about that. I seem to have slid off the camera's focus here. All right, we're going to now adhere this secondary piece to our card base. Always make sure that if your layers include a ribbon and it wraps around, that you put that before you lay down the cardstock. Now, in this card, what I've done is I've cut out the Blackberry Bliss in a scallop circle. And this is about the 4th largest scallop circle in the layering circle die bundle, or die set, I'm sorry. And then this is about the 4th large, I'm sorry, this is the 3rd largest stitch die. No, this is the largest stitch die from Stitched Shapes. So I'm going to layer those two pieces, and I'll be stamping thanks, thank you, onto this piece. So let's get that stamped. And I'll be using the Blackberry Bliss. There we go, thank you. And then I can adhere that to the back. Next, I'll be adding these really cute little accents. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to ink up these, the acorn, the oak leaf, and the maple leaf with Memento Black. And then I'll be using my punches. So I'd like the oak, let's do the acorn in this Cajun Craze. And let's see, I have a little scrap here of Pretty Peacock. So I'm going to stamp my maple leaf in Pretty Peacock. There we go. And let's see, a piece of Blackberry Bliss. Yep, scrapped. And we're going to cut our oak leaf out of that one. Okay, now to get our punches. So let's start with the oak leaf. It's the last one we colored. I'm going to turn my punch upside down. Now the 3 punches do come as part of this bundle, Beautiful Autumn. All right, this one's the maple leaf punch. And then let's punch out the acorn. So in this project, we're doing a cute cut where we take a piece of DSP and cut it into 1-inch strips. And we're punching out 3 cute little shapes from Beautiful Autumn. Now those will look much nicer if they're popped up on some mini dimensionals. So let me grab those and just pop him right there. And let's put one on the back of our maple leaf. Your pick tool has so many possibilities. You can use the pointy tip to help flick off. Well, number one, to turn over your pieces. If your nails, like mine, are a little thick, look at this. I can use it, poke it, and pop off the back of my dimensional. There we go. So it's a little different from the first one. Now we're going to pop it onto the card with the larger dimensionals. So I've got a few of these here. And again, let's just go ahead and use that pick tool to help peel that off. There we go. And get rid of those. All right. And there you go. Thank you. Now, this is a dark tone card, so it makes it very difficult to write a sentiment or message inside. So what I'm also doing today is adding a lighter layer that coordinates with the outside. This color, by the way, is Sahara Sand. And before I do that, I'm going to stamp. These are some of the grain pieces that are also in Beautiful Autumn. So I'm going to go ahead and take advantage of these cute little pieces and just stamp them the bottom of the Sahara Sand, just to give it a little bit of color to coordinate with the front of the card. I always like to stamp before I adhere my my cardstock, just in case I should happen to smudge or it doesn't come out quite the way I'd like. So it gives me some options. There we go. Now your card's ready to be mailed. It's a beautiful thank you card, and what a time to be grateful as we enter into fall soon. All right, our last project, I'm not sure what we call this. It is somewhat of a, well, I can't think of the name, but it's a partial fold, and I'm going to need the following pieces. Oh, one other thing. On this card, I've also taken the liberty to change the paper a little bit. This particular card is one that I made for some friends, and so I thought I would show it with some different designer series paper to show the possibilities. So the main tools I need are the scallop punch. And I'm going to, instead of using my fall punches, I figured I'd already used that on the other card, so I'm going to use the little small flower punch. I've chosen to use designer series paper from Ornate Gardens. And I'm going to use also this beautiful ribbon, metallic edge ribbon. It's got a gold metallic edge. It also comes in silver, by the way. All right, so let's get our pieces. I needed a scrap of the coordinating color that is going to be my secondary color, and that is Calypso Coral. So I've got a scrap of that to punch out my flower in a moment. And I have some pieces of designer series paper. So as I start putting those together, I'll tell you the sizes. Let's just move everything aside and let's get to, I don't want to do spoiler alert, but you know what? That is the primary objective of this card. So with this card, I'm actually going to have to do a little maneuvering here. What I discovered is if you put the entire card piece into your scallop punch, even though the scallop punch is designed for no more than about 2 inches width, if I put the whole piece there, watch what's going to happen. I need to be sure it's centered. Okay. It's going to leave me with these pieces, and we're going to take care of that in a moment. Let's go ahead and reverse it. Do the same thing. There we go. Make sure it's centered. This is Bumblebee cardstock. By the way, this one, similar to the last card we just made, it's 4 1/4 by 11 inches. That's how it started. Now I'm going to need my cutting board. So let me give myself, I've crowded myself. As my projects develop, my space gets smaller. Okay, so I need my cutting board because I'm going to trim away these extra pieces. And the way to do that carefully is to find this cutting line, okay, on your cutting board. So I'm going to place that opening right on top of it. And I'm going to cut right up, whoops, let's get that out of the way. I'm going to cut right up to that point. And then I'm going to take this blade up to the second one, to the opening, and then cut. Now, I may need to use my snips, let's see, just to make it a clean cut. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Okay, that worked nicely. And let's flip it around, and we're going to do the same thing. Look for that little opening, and let's make that cut too. That one I may have overshot that a little bit. That's okay. I'm going to use my snips to fix that. There and there. Okay. Now, I need to also be able to fold this scallop tag. So what I'm going to do, again, line up to the cutting edge, but this time move the cutting blade out of the way and we're going to score it because now this is going to fold in. So a typical card is when it's made and folded, it's 5 1/2 inches by 4 1/4. That's what fits into the envelope and is ready for mail. So I'm going to take this folded side and I'm going to line it up at 5 1/2. And then I bring my scoring blade and create that score line. I found that to be the easiest way to make the perfect size card. So now you can see my 2 scallop edges are going to meet up, and I'll be putting the ribbon in shortly. All right, let's get some of these designer series paper pieces out. I've chosen the Ornate Garden designer series paper. is lovely. It's actually specialty paper because it has some foil pieces. And I've chosen this piece to feature some foil. I wanted to give this card some bling. So this piece is 4 inches long by a 1.5 inch wide. And I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive to hold it down. And I'm going to put it about 1/8 of an inch from the edge and lay that down. Okay, so it's going to show a border on both sides. Now let's work on the front side a little bit. Crease that so it doesn't keep flying up on me. This piece measures 4 inches tall by 3 5/8 inches wide, laying directly above. The DSP is 3 3/4 by 3 1/4. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead and adhere this secondary color, Calypso Coral, on top of the Bumblebee base. All right, there we go. Designer Series paper and our Calypso Coral. Now, gold foil, beautiful piece of gold foil. This is from the Stitch Shapes. This is the Stitch Square, and this one is the second largest Stitch Square, 1/8 inch by 2 1/8 inch size square. Because I remember this Designer Series paper is 1 7/8 by 1 7/8. So I got a little ahead of myself. As you've noticed, there's the word friend. I used my die from Well Wishes. There's a variety of holidays and some happy words. And I cut out friend using the double-sided tape, and I've just adhered it onto my Designer Series paper. So now I've layered the word friend onto the Designer Series paper onto the gold stitch shaped square. Now, instead of, like I said, in this card, instead of using these fall pieces, I've opted to use this cute little flower, and we're going to put a really pretty gilded gem on it in a moment. But I also want to focus a little bit more on this beautiful gold. Now, these pieces that I'm showing you come from the gold foliage. This coordinates with Forever Greenery, and I have a leaf stuck inside a leaf here. Let's see, there we go. These are just a few of the pieces. Aren't those beautiful? I think I'll stick with these two because they match, and I'm going to put those right there. Let's see. Yes, that'll work. Well, no, let's do this. Yeah, like that. Okay. So probably the best way to adhere those, I'm going to put a little piece, since I'm going to use the dimensionals to pop up my sentiment. I'm going to use it there first. And let's see, this is going to need a few pieces. Let's put this right about there, friend. So I've already popped out my small flower with my punch, and I'm going to adhere that also. Let's use a bigger dimensional. So that way I only have to put one on it. And put this right up here. And a card is not finished without a little bling. So these are the gilded gems. These are in our annual catalog. And so this very same cool pick tool, which somebody on my team is going to win today. We have our team meeting tonight. And I've offered 2 prizes for card sharing that we do in our private page. So yes, if you'd like to be part of my team, just reach out to me. There's several links. You can message me here on Facebook, or you can reach out to me through my blog or my DBWS store, my Stampin' Up! Store. All right, there you go. So there's a little bling in the middle of our small flower. All we need now to wrap it up is literally wrap it with some ribbon. So let's see how much I'm going to need. There we go. We're just about done. This is our metallic edge ribbon, metallic edged in gold. I think this is just such a pretty, oh, I overdid the ribbon. Oh, such a pretty fall card. Late summer. This is nice and bright flowers, so it really is a summer card. There we go. And let's get this card. If you notice, I didn't trim on the inside. It is a light enough cardstock that I don't feel like I need to add anything to the inside, but certainly you can. There we go. So we've taken the scalloped cut card for our cute card, our cute cut card today. So this one made with the Autumn Leaves DSP and Autumn Leaf punches. This one we made on today live, and this one just uses Ornate Gardens paper and Forever Greenery, the gold laser cut leaves that come with that suite. So there are the projects that we've created today. Cut with the 3 strips of designer series paper and another cute cut and fold for our Hi There card. Remember, these 2 designer series paper are in the Magic in the Night. I'm sorry, Magic in This Night, and this is Ornate Garden Designer Series paper. Thank you very much for your time. I've enjoyed spending my morning with you, and I hope you have as well. Happy stamping. Bye-bye.